All right, let's get into this right now. Welcome to my Dead Space remake review, and to start things off, I beat this game twice, and I'm on my third playthrough, the Impossible Run, about halfway through. So, not quite the platinum yet. However, very close to it. Probably get it tomorrow or day after that. So, there's that. Now, Dead Space, in terms of like how much experience I have with it, I've played Dead Space 2008, right? But I never beat it, but I've never played two, and I've beaten three because three was like just a shooter, like just straight up shooter, like Resident Evil 5, I think, of the series. If that makes sense. Um, so I was very excited for this because I was about, some time ago, I was about to buy them on Steam, right? I wanted to replay all games, at least one and two, not three. Three was like, eh. Three was like a good game, but not a good Dead Space game, right? And then they announced the remake, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait for this. Wait the entire time for this game and to come out just to see how it is. Now, usually I talk about the story first. The biggest thing that like impressed me with this game is the gameplay. Now you have 7 different guns, right? You have contact beam, Ripper, flamethrower, line gun, force gun, the pulse rifle, this is the only gun I hate, the assault rifle basically, and of course the plasma cutter. Now during my first playthrough, I just played the plasma cutter. That's all I did. I upgraded that fully. I upgraded the armor fully, and then for New Game Plus, I basically used everything else. I still used plasma cutter a bit, but I used everything else way more. I like every gun except the goddamn pulse rifle. It's so like weird. Like, whatever. It is weird. The DualSense is here. Obviously, I feel like the DualSense shines the most in non-gameplay scenarios, like when you ride an elevator or you're like going to do different stuff with a suit, when you fly around like Iron Man and stuff like that. That's like when the DualSense is the highlight. It works very well. With my first playthrough, the entire playthrough I did in 3D audio, incredible. And I feel like you almost have to, because like in my second playthrough, and especially now in my third playthrough, I don't play with headphones just because I play the game already once, want to maybe listen to anything else, stuff like that. The enemy surprised. Like I feel like you have to almost have headphones on the first time you play, even though it's maybe scary or whatever. But yeah, headphones definitely needed. Very very good. I use the Pulse 3D headphones, the Sony ones that come with it. Now in terms of story, a big aspect when I asked on Twitter, like what do you want to know about the game? A big change was obviously Isaac speaking. However, I feel like he speaks when he has to speak. It's not like he just speaks randomly, or like he talks to himself. Oh, I just shoot this guy, or just item here. Let me pick this up. Oh wow! When he has to speak, he speaks. When he's quiet, and that's it. So that change, I don't mind at all. For people who don't know, I'm not gonna spoil it. Obviously, there is alternate ending, which is why I want to beat the game twice before I did the review. And you can only get a New Game Plus. You have to do 13 collectibles, or 12. I don't remember. At least you have to do at least 12 collectibles, and you have to put them in a specific spot. And then when you just beat the game, you get an alternative ending. And that ending, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it can set up something different. Now, in terms of like what is Dead Space Remake, I feel like you have Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is like a remake of everything, the whole timeline, everything. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Obviously, there has to be everything new. Then you have things like, let's say, Shadow of the Colossus. 1-to-1 remake. Very good, but it still feels like the same game, but now. Dead Space is like somewhere in the middle, I feel like. It is way more than just a simple remaster or remake 1-to-1, right? Because you can travel through the stations, there's like a new simpler gameplay stuff. You can go backtrack way more. I don't remember how much you can backtrack in the original game, but definitely not, as far as I understand, not as much as this. They added stuff from the second and third game that makes it easier. I feel like Dead Space Remake is the ultimate Dead Space game, from Outplay at least, or for what I understand. I definitely feel like this is the most like Dead Space of Dead Space games, if that makes sense. So it is very very good. The stomp, when you stomp enemies, it's a little bit catchy because you like to do it to save ammo, but at the other time, like if there's an enemy Clark, coming to you, you're not gonna get him in one stomp mostly, unless it's a small enemy. In terms of like the story itself, otherwise, expect the alternative ending. I think it's pretty much the same, but man, it just the way, like I feel like the story is nothing like super special or anything. You go there because get a signal. He thinks, he finds out, his lover is there, all that stuff. It's a classic story if you haven't played the game, but it's just how good it is. It is. It's the experience of like a survival horror game, but with action gameplay. And when I say that, is like survival horror is for like a specific crowd, right? But I feel like this game anyone can play because it has so much good gameplay in it. As long as you can handle the scary parts and stuff like that. So that was mostly about the story. Side missions, again, they're not big. Most of them you're gonna get by just just looking around a bit more. You can go to the menu, put the side mission on, press R3, and it's gonna just lead right to the side mission. And it also will tell you when it's inactive and active. So like you can do some missions. Some missions you can't do unless you get to the specific point, and you can just do them then, or you can just wait until like later on when you want to feel like doing them. But you can't do them like you can't do the whole side mission as soon as you get a side mission. You have to like the game is going to tell you pretty good like, okay, you can do this now. Now it's inactive. Wait until you get later in the story basically. So side missions are good. They just add a little bit more to it. Obviously, there's one side mission to unlock all doors. I think Master Overdrive. I think that's like the biggest side mission you kind of have to do to get all the collectibles and stuff. Now let's talk about the technical side. Here's the thing, like obviously graphics, all that stuff. That's the biggest thing I think we all expected to be changed in a good way. However, I did not expect the lighting to be this good. Like I feel like PS3 games, 360 games, they didn't have like HDR and stuff like that. Like the graphics that we have today. When it's like black in this game, the HDR really kicks in, and there are some sections where like lightning goes and gone. Comes on for a few seconds and then goes away. You just swing a light, right? And like you can tell when it's dark. Like it's dark, and you have to kind of pull out your gun to like see with the flashlight and how it is. But it really becomes dark, and I don't feel like the old games had that fearness, we're like, oh, it's dark here, but you can't do anything then. Where like this game, you truly can't do anything then. You have to like look around or just wait a bit because you can't really see anything then unless you put obviously your gun out. So yeah, but Dead Space Remake, like overall thoughts, like I just like I said, it feels like just like it feels like it's enough of a remake where like I can put this in my top 10 games, right? Or like a game like Last of Us Part 1, or a game like, let's say, Shadow of the Colossus, or Demon Souls is weird. Like, I'm not sure because Demon Souls, some people count it, some people don't. It's like, do you count Demon Souls as a remake for your Game of the Year? I don't know, honestly. But I feel like this game added too much new stuff to where like, okay, this is way different than the first game, but it's still Dead Space. Like the Dead Space, the Definitive Edition remake with new content and everything new. New mechanics, new stuff to go, new stuff to explore, new stuff to play as. So I do feel like this game is definitely gonna be in my top Game of the Year. Absolutely. I see it this year. I think Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, maybe Starfield, obviously Zelda. A very handful of games, maybe better than this game. So I can definitely see this game be my top 10 games, or top 5 games. I mean. Now in terms of like questions, I'm gonna see questions here. Some people ask me I asked Twitter to ask me basically, what do I want to answer here? Let me see. So the most common questions were like, do you recommend this game at 70? Yes, it's very polished. For the first like 3 or 4 days, there was like a weird graphical issue on PS5, but they fixed it right away. It's fixed now anyway, so it was like basically just some weird resolution bug. I'm not sure what happened, but it works very, like it's crispy. It's a PS5 game. It's crispy, 60 frames. You can play in 4K ray tracing. I play in 60 all the way. Always 60. Let me see. Do you recommend this game if no one has played? Yeah, of course. I mean, if you haven't played the original game, it's gonna be even better. So I never even beat the first game, so there's that. But I played it. I played it. Do you want remake of 2 and 3? Okay, here. Sorry. 2 I want the remake of, but if they kind of just did their own trilogy now, where like 2 is different and 3 is way different, no problem. I don't want a 3 remake though. Just never do that. If you're gonna make a second game, fine. If they're gonna make a new second game, like a new timeline, okay, because they're alternate ending. But don't touch 3. 3, just let that rest. It's not. It's a good game. It's an okay game, but like not a good Dead Space game. I already talked about Isaac's alternative voice. Well, like him talking more. Let's see else. What do you rate this game? Okay. So here's the thing. I don't usually rate games all that often because I forget. But if I had to rate this game, I beat it twice on my third playthrough. No glitches. Only a small resolution bug that's fixed. 9.5 out of 10. It is that good. Like, I highly, 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 highly recommend this game. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching the review. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. And goodbye.